Hi, this is Olof Wikstrand and
This is Jonas Wikstrand.
from Enforcer, and you're watching Stormbringer TV.
You have out now your new album Death by Fire. It's got many good critics from the press. Did you expect that wave of success from the critics?
You know, when you work on something, you really don't think of what other people think of it. So through the whole recording process, we've been kind of just focusing on doing it the way we wanted to do. Once it's done, you start to get a distance to the actual record. You can start to think of that, and well, yeah, I'm really satisfied about it, and I would be a bit surprised if people didn't like it, because it's like the definition of what we do and what we are all about.
What are the biggest differences to the previous album Diamonds?
The biggest difference it's more thought through. We've been like planning the whole album from the beginning, and we've been working on it for such a long time, and we really wanted to do it real and make the definite Enforcer album, and so the difference is that it's like more thought through, I would say.
Do you agree?
Yeah, first it's built upon a flow and a dramaturgy throughout the whole album. We kind of sketch up the whole album before we even had any songs. So it's like much more built upon a very solid thought of what we want to do and how we wanted to concentrate everything that was very typical Enforcer to make it something very unique and something that stands out towards everything else put out in these years.
And before we even wrote the songs, we had an idea for what every song should be like. So this is the album and this is the songs. That's the album's gonna contain pretty much.
Well, the previous albums are more like bunched together songs individually written by the members. This is a record that is written of all the members with a shared idea and a shared vision. So we worked in the same direction all the time with this album, which could make it consequent and still like following a red line all the way through at the same time as it's varied. So we've been working on the same album, all of us.
Okay. Yeah, we could really like concentrate on every single element of the record, with the production, with the sound, everything. So we as the Diamonds albums, the album Diamonds we recorded in like 2 weeks or something. For this we had more than 10 months to do. So it took us much longer time, and but I think it turned out good.
You changed the label from Earache Records to Nuclear Blast. What was the reason for this step?
There was no reason. It was just a natural step for us to take in the next direction. We didn't really drop Earache or anything like that. They licensed the Diamonds album for the European territory, and that's pretty much it. So now when we had the chance to sign for any label that we wanted to, we chose Nuclear Blast for being a natural next step in the way of Enforcer.
The song Mesmerized by Fire reminds me a little bit on Metal Crew, Too Fast to Love times. What are your influences when you write songs?
The influences is like every information you turn to inspiration. For that's what I would say.
I would say that mostly on this album we have tried to exclude all the external sources of inspiration as possible to look more into ourselves and do our thing, you know. We didn't want to look at other bands and copy other bands. We want to do something that was really us. So that's pretty much for inspiration, you know. But of course you always hear stuff and you process them in your mind until you have your own thing of it, but that not as much as the previous albums. I would say this is much more, we kind of inspired ourselves with this album.
Is Death by Fire the perfect way to die for you?
I heard it's the most painful one, so I wouldn't, you shouldn't think about those matters that will only make you worried all the time, you know.
For many bands, the third album is something like the breakthrough album. Would you say that is the breakthrough album for
Well,
Enforcer?
we don't know that. If it's gonna be the breakthrough,
There is
no
breakthrough. We only do what we want to do, and then it doesn't matter, you know.
I mean,
We're not here for any success or anything like that. We're just here to spread the message that we want to do, and how many people like it doesn't matter, you know, as long as we do what we do.
What do you feel when you enter the stage?
I feel adrenaline. I feel like, yeah, uh, that I'm home. I'm looking for. Is you're walking around like all day and just waiting to get on stage, and once you get on stage, it's like, yeah, finally. And when the show starts with the intro and yeah, it's a feeling you could never like. It's hard to describe when you're not a musician and not being on stage.
You go into a certain mode, you know. It's like anything else in the world don't exist. You're there to deliver a show. You're there to deliver an energy to the audience through your music, and that's everything you have in your mind at that point.
With Angel Witch, you've toured last year in the UK and in Scandinavia, I think. Do you become close friends with something during the show?
Yeah, we're really good friends with them and with their crew and everything, and I think we're getting along really, really good. And I love the music, so it's I hope we could do more shows with them.
Do you got some fights inside the bands during the songwriting process or something?
Not this time, because not at all, I would say. Because we have shared the thought from the beginning, you know, what we wanted to do, and we've always been struggling towards the same goal. It's different when you struggle, or when you fight to different goals. That when the band members don't share the idea what you want to do. But this time the idea has been very clear. So we've been very clear of what we wanted to do, and that's why it is so much better in all ways, I would say. That's why it's so much more consequent and thought through.
You define the goal, and then it's a path to go there. And if you share the same goal, you always gonna choose the same path.
Adam Zars, I think, don't find the same goal like you because you split ways with him. What was the reason for that step?
I mean, yeah, he didn't want to do this type of music anymore, and with all respects to him. I mean, but if you want to have some more detailed version, you should probably ask him. But there are no hard feelings from anyone, and it was probably the right decision for him if he didn't share the goal with the rest of the band.
Will you continue as a four-piece band, or will you integrate a new member?
I want to continue as a four-piece because I feel really confident with the band set up this way, and I think it works really good on stage and off stage. So
you know, we don't want to bring in any more person in the band just for the sake of taking in someone new. You know, it's in the end it's just about delivering energy to the audience, and then it doesn't matter, at least not to me, if you're 4 or 5 people on stage, you know. So it's as long as you can do that, which I definitely think we can do, and it is a bit more easier to play together when you're 4 and not 5. So I think we sound better now than any time else before.
it would be really hard to find the fifth member because we've been playing with each other since we were kids.
And there's a very special attitude towards music that we share within the band that you never find anyone else doing, you know. It's like an attitude towards life and towards music. It's like you can't bring in anyone from the outside in this circle that we have.
And you have more space on smaller venues on the stage, because I saw you about 2 years ago as the support band of Airborne.
Yeah.
It was an explosive show at the Gasometer in Vienna. What are the differences between those bigger arena shows to the smaller club shows like here?
It's really no difference. Like, it's in the end it's about an energy flow between the audience and the band, and if it's there, it doesn't really matter. But you know, it's you can take some advantages of playing bigger stages where you can have a more thought through pattern of the whole stage setup, you know, and you can bring more props and more stage gear in a way that, you know, to just exaggerate the whole stage appearance, which you can't do on this type of venues. But it's a different thing, you know. And we're standing with both feet in both, you know, both worlds, playing club shows and playing bigger shows.
I think it's a charm with both. I mean, playing bigger shows in front of a big audience is like, you can use all your props and the fire and the lights that we're bringing on this tour, and then you got the small shows, which is like more intense, closer to the audience, and it's a different vibe. But I liked both.
So you refer to the older, you sound unique, but you refer to the older bands, I think from the 80s bands, but the Swedish metal scene is very healthy. There are many young bands that are rising up now. What do you think about the scene in your own country?
Yeah, the scene is very well, I would say, better than any time before. There are lots of good bands, no matter the genre, who really do their own thing, unique, and you know, do it really well. But there are also lots of bad bands coming up, you know, but that's always the case.
What are the next plans or the next steps for the band?
We're gonna tour this year. We're heading to South America in April, and hopefully gonna do some festivals this summer, and then continue touring next fall, and then I'm gonna start to write new material, I guess.
If you had one wish for Enforcer, what would be?
We have no wishes. We only have goals.